No, they don't. And I'm low-key getting sick and tired of this argument now because Argentina has absolutely no claim or basis to the Falkland Islands. They were discovered by the French long before Argentina was even considered a place. They were first settled in 1764 by the French, and the British followed shortly after in 1765. And then in the 1770s, the Spanish arrived with a fleet of ships and some soldiers and forced the British out. Now, Britain and Spain almost went to war over these islands, but the British government at the last minute decided that it was not worth fighting over. And the British government decided it should withdraw some of its overseas presence in 1774. Meanwhile, Spain maintained a garrison at Puerto Soledad in the East Falklands, and they continued to administer the garrison from Montevideo until 1811, when they were compelled to withdraw due to the Argentinian War of Independence. So in other words, the Falkland Islands were completely abandoned, and in 1833 the British returned to the Falkland Islands. And then Argentina decides 149 years later to invade. And they arrogantly believed that because the British had been in a bit of decline for the last half of the century, that they would not fight for it. And they were wrong. I still maintain the belief that had it been any other post-war Prime Minister besides Thatcher, they would have just bent the knee and let it happen. But fortunately, Thatcher, as much as I despise what she did to the miners and the Midlands and the North and Wales and Scotland, responded with force and took the islands back. So I don't understand this narrative. I can only come to the conclusion that it's another example of anti-British left-wing ideals. Now, I could be wrong here, but something cannot be stolen if it doesn't belong to anyone. And if you're still unsatisfied and are still screeching, "Ugh, British imperialism," let's ask what the people of the Falkland Islands think, shall we? In 2013, due to endless screeching from the Argentinian government about wanting sovereignty over the islands, we asked the citizens of the Falkland Islands if they would like to join Argentina or stay British. And with a 92% turnout, 1,513 people, so 99.8%, voted in favour of remaining British, whereas only 3 people voted in favour of being part of Argentina. I'd bet money those 3 people had some kind of vested interest. So there you have it. Democracy has spoken. The overwhelming majority of people want to remain British. Like in most instances with these overseas territories. It's the same story in Hong Kong and Gibraltar. In overwhelming supermajorities, the people wish to remain British. Hashtag free Hong Kong. So in conclusion, the Argentinians have absolutely no right to claim the Falkland Islands. And frankly, I don't give a shit how far away the Falkland Islands are from mainland Britain. And no offence to left-wingers, but it's about time some of these moral busybody, anti-imperialist, quote-unquote left-wingers stopped ranting about the Falklands. I'm also looking at you, Corbyn. You wanted to share the sovereignty. Argentina, for God's sake, just admit that you were conned by a junta. You were conned by your deeply unpopular military dictatorship at the time, and they needed a war to distract you from how shit things were going in your country.